You've spent too much of your life handing your light to people who only came to dim it. Too much time explaining your worth to folks who were never qualified to measure it. You keep shrinking, folding, waiting, hoping they'll one day see you, hear you, choose you. But the truth is, they already did, and they chose to ignore your brilliance. They chose to treat your loyalty like it was disposable. They chose to watch you bleed and still asked you to smile. And now it's your turn to choose. Choose yourself. Choose your peace. Choose your future. Because they don't deserve the healed version of you if they couldn't love you when you were broken. They don't deserve access to your growth if they abandoned you in your struggle. They don't deserve to ride in the car when they left you walking in the rain. And then no matter how long you knew them, no matter how deep your love ran, you're allowed to outgrow what once felt like home. You're allowed to evolve beyond the reach of people who never wanted to see you rise. This is your moment to rise anyway. To walk anyway. To glow anyway. You are not here to be chosen. You are here to be undeniable. Not to be tolerated, but to be treasured. Not to be explained, but to be experienced. And anyone who can't see that, anyone who needs convincing, anyone who makes you feel like you're too much, just for being yourself, they were never for you. Let them watch you from a distance. Let them regret underestimating the fire they tried to extinguish. And while they're talking, doubting, dismissing, you keep walking with purpose, with power, with pride, because they don't deserve you. And they never did. There's a fine line between loyalty and self-destruction. And too many people cross it in the name of love, in the name of friendship, in the name of keeping the peace. You call it loyalty, but what you're really doing is chaining yourself to people who would let you drown without hesitation. You keep showing up for folks who wouldn't even flinch if you disappeared. You keep carrying weight for people who put more on your back every time you try to stand up straight. That ain't loyalty. That's bondage. Loyalty is supposed to be a two-way street. It's supposed to be mutual. Respect for respect. Energy for energy. Love for love. But some of you are running marathons for people who wouldn't even cross the street for you. You're bleeding for folks who wouldn't offer you a bandage. You're defending people who wouldn't even speak your name when you're not in the room. And deep down, you know it. But you tell yourself, I've known them for years. They've been through everything with me. Yeah. So what? Time doesn't equal value. Just because you've shared history with someone doesn't mean they deserve access to your future. You get stuck in these one-sided relationships where you give, and they take and take. And when you finally ask for something back, suddenly you're the problem. Suddenly you're too needy, too sensitive, too dramatic. So what do? You shrink. You fold. You apologize for having needs. You swallow your voice just to keep the connection. But every time you stay silent to protect someone else's comfort, you betray yourself. Every time you forgive disrespect just to avoid conflict, you teach them how to treat you. And before long, your loyalty becomes your cage. You're not staying because you're loyal. You're staying because you're afraid of what happens if you stop. Afraid to be alone. Afraid of being the bad guy. Afraid to rebuild. So you stay stuck, trapped in a cycle that drains you dry and leaves you hollow. But let me ask you something. What are you actually loyal to? Them, or the version of them you keep hoping will show up? Are you loyal to the person or to the potential? Because if you have to keep sacrificing your joy, your peace, your growth just to stay connected, that ain't loyalty. That's a slow death. You were not created to be a servant to someone else's dysfunction. You were not put on this earth to be a doormat, a scapegoat, a punching bag for people too broken to handle your truth. You keep confusing loyalty with suffering. Keep thinking that love means endurance. But love without respect is not love. Commitment without mutual care is not noble. It's foolish. You can't keep putting yourself last and calling it loyalty. You can't keep erasing your needs to meet theirs and calling it strength. Real loyalty should never cost you your dignity. And let me tell you something. They know exactly what they're doing. They know you'll pick up every time they call. They know you'll forgive before they even say sorry. They know they can let you down 1,000 times and you'll still find a reason to stay. But the moment you set a boundary, the moment you say, no more, watch how quick they flip. Watch how fast they blame you, guilt you, shame you. Not because you're wrong, but because they can't use you anymore. That's not love. That's control. And it ends when you decide your freedom matters more than their comfort. Your loyalty is sacred, it's powerful. But it should be earned, not assumed. Reserved for those who show up, who pour into you, who hold you down like you hold them down. You don't owe anyone access just because they were there once. Loyalty is not about how long they've been in your life. It's about how they treat you while they're there. And if you've got to choose between being loyal to them or being loyal to yourself, choose yourself every time. There comes a moment when you stop asking for directions and start paving your own path. A moment when you stop explaining, stop negotiating, stop justifying why you're done. Not because you're bitter, not because you're cold, but because you finally remembered who you are. You've spent enough time trying to be understood by people committed to misunderstanding you. You've spent enough nights replaying conversations in your head, enough mornings waking up drained from carrying dead weight. Now it's time. Time to walk away. Not with your head down. Not quietly. But like you own the road beneath your feet. See, when you walk away from what no longer serves you, you're not just leaving a situation, you're stepping into your power. Every step is a declaration. I will no longer betray myself to keep the peace. I will no longer dim my fire to make others comfortable in their shadows. I will no longer play small just so someone else doesn't feel insecure around my greatness. You're not leaving because you're weak. You're leaving because your spirit has finally had enough. Because you've outgrown the space they kept trying to shove you into. Because you've realized that loyalty to your purpose matters more than loyalty to people who never honored it. But walking away isn't always about drama. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it's peaceful. Sometimes the loudest move you can make is silence. No need to slam doors. No need for speeches. Just a shift in energy. Just a decision to stop showing up. That's the real power. When you don't have to announce you're done, they just feel your absence like thunder rolling through their comfort zone. The same folks who took you for granted now scrambling to replace the presence they never appreciated. But it's too late. You're gone. And this time, you ain't coming back. You walk like you own the road because you remember who built it. You remember the nights you cried and still showed up. The days you were broken but kept moving. The moments you were overlooked, underestimated, disrespected, and yet you kept rising. You earned this road with your grit. You carved it with your faith. You lit it with your vision. So don't you dare tiptoe on a path you built with your own pain. Don't you dare apologize for refusing to walk in circles when you were born to climb mountains. Don't you dare look back at people who were content watching you bleed. You ain't arrogant for choosing peace. You ain't selfish for choosing growth. You're just done being held hostage by people who never planned to set you free. You've been trying to prove your worth to folks too blind to see it. Fighting for a seat at tables you were never meant to sit at. Chasing validation from people who can't even validate themselves. And somewhere along the way, you forgot. You are the table. You are the presence. You are the storm and the calm after it. And now it's time to act like it. When you walk away, don't hesitate. Don't look back. Don't entertain the what-ifs, the maybes, the could-have-beens. You gave all you had. You loved with your whole heart. You stayed longer than you should have. That chapter is closed. The pen is back in your hand. And the next part of your story doesn't include people who only loved you when you were easy to carry. You're not here to be tolerated. You're not here to beg. Evolve to ascend. To dominate. So walk like the ground was made for you. Like every step you take is blessed. Like your future is waiting just ahead. And it's tired of waiting. You've spent too much of your life handing your light to people who only came to dim it. Too much time explaining your worth to folks who were never qualified to measure it. You keep shrinking, folding, waiting, hoping they'll one day see you, hear you, choose you. But the truth is, they already did. And they chose to ignore your brilliance. They chose to treat your loyalty like it was disposable. They chose to watch you bleed and still asked you to smile. And now it's your turn to choose. Choose yourself. Choose your peace. Choose your future. Because they don't deserve the healed version of you if they couldn't love you when you were broken. They don't deserve access to your growth if they abandoned you in your struggle. They don't deserve to ride in the car when they left you walking in the rain. And no matter how long you knew them, no matter how deep your love ran, You're allowed to outgrow what once felt like home. You're allowed to evolve beyond the reach of people who never wanted to see you rise. This is your moment to rise anyway, to walk anyway, to glow anyway. You are not here to be chosen. You are here to be undeniable. Not to be tolerated, but to be treasured. Not to be explained, but to be experienced. And anyone who can't see that, anyone who needs convincing, anyone who makes you feel like you're too much, just for being yourself, they were never for you. Let them watch you from a distance. Let them regret underestimating the fire they tried to extinguish. And while they're talking, doubting, dismissing, you keep walking with purpose, with power. Because they don't deserve you, and they never did.